Welcome everyone to the Great Bird Battle of 2021. I have these two windows that are right here directly across from me, and there is this giant battle going outside between these birds. In fact, they just ran into my screen, and I contemplated before I started this just to flip my camera around and record that, because that may actually be the most entertaining thing that I can share with you. But if you came here for a podcast, I guess we'll kind of stick down that path for now. Welcome everyone to episode 104 of Missing Pieces. This is the podcast where I, Greg, discuss my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind. And I thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. And I apologize to all of the bird enthusiasts that wanted to see that battle, because it looks like it might actually be over now. So we can podcast in peace here. I want to start this episode off, maybe just starting it off again. I want to start it off with a huge thank you to everyone that watched last week's episode, and for all of the warm wishes in the comments section. Everyone was just so supportive of us, and telling Cody to get well, and it was awesome. It just really made me appreciate the fact that I have this community here, even more than I already did, which is almost impossible. But I want to thank you guys for all of that, and you just filled my heart with joy. So I hearted everyone that I could possibly heart on that. I don't know whether you get notified of that or not, but I went ahead and did it anyway, because it just, it was just really cool. But I'll start this off with an update on that. Any other bird updates outside? It looks like we're all clear. No more confrontations happening out there. Fighting for territory outside the brickitect studio to get a live viewing of Missing Pieces as it's recording, I'm sure. So last week, I think I left you off with saying that, one, Cody had COVID. That was apparent. She was sick like the week before that, had a positive COVID test when she assumes that she got it from Clark Man, and she was off school for the week. So we decided that Clark and I should get tested just to know if we had it or not. And I was pretty sure that Clark Man did, because he, up in like the middle of October, he was exhibiting signs of just being sick in general. Took him to the doctor, who said he had a sinus infection, didn't give him a COVID test, none of that. And then we had him off of school for a week. He went back for a week. Cody got sick then. Clark got sent home. And that's kind of where I left you off at. So Clark and I went and got a COVID test on Saturday afternoon of last week. And lo and behold, his came back positive, which was no surprise at all. Again, he probably had it maybe 3 weeks before he actually got tested. I don't know how long it stays in your system or whatever, but you can go back and watch our live streams from the mornings of like mid-October. I want to say like the 18th or something like that was when it was like in full force. And you can see him just be like completely drained. He still was like, his mind was in it, but his body was just not. And he was sleeping a lot during the day. And then obviously like he passed it to Cody, who the next week got it. And it ran through our household. But the strange thing of all of this is I was also tested, and my test came back negative. And I was like blown away by that. There was no there was no aspect of my mind that thought that I was going to be negative, even though I had no symptoms or anything. I just assumed I was asymptomatic, because I did literally everything that you could possibly do to try to get COVID, not really intentionally. Like, I wasn't actively trying to get it, but I lived in a household with 2 people who had COVID at 2 different times. Clark drank after me. We slept in the same room. We're sitting in the same room, literally sitting beside Clark for hours as he's coughing and stuff. Like, if you were trying to get COVID, this would be how you do it. And for some reason, mine came back negative. I want to say it's maybe a testament to the power of the vaccines. I had the Moderna vaccine. Cody had the Johnson & Johnson. I don't know if that plays into it, or everyone may be just a little bit different. Maybe I did have it. It was a false negative, but I was shocked when it came back and it said I was negative. And a part of me was actually a little disappointed. And I know this may come off like a little, like you think you'd be thankful that you didn't have it, but I kind of wanted to have had it, because then it would be like, okay, so I've had it, we're good. And I didn't have any symptoms, so it would have been like winning the COVID lottery essentially. But now here I am, back in the same boat where I've never had COVID, at least as far as I know. Maybe I could get tested again, I suppose. But I've never had COVID. I have the vaccine. I could potentially get it. But I know Clark and Cody could get it again too, from what I understand. Like, people have said that you could get it twice. You can obviously get it when you've been vaccinated. But so far, so good. And I guess I'm COVID free. And other good news, Cody and Clark are all back to, they're good. Like, Clark was feeling good already back last weekend. He was fine. And Cody was back to work this week. She had to take 10 days off, being that she was vaccinated, and she went back to work the middle of this week. So everybody's back normal. Everybody's good. I mentioned that her symptoms were like everything, like the feeling like lethargic, feeling like you have like a cold or like the flu, loss of taste, loss of smell. That came back for her just in the last couple of days. So she's like, it's like it never happened. So that's really cool. Clark, man, is fine. I'm fine. The one other thing that, I guess the one residual thing that's still lasting with this, though, is that Clark is still off of school for yet another week because of how things worked out. And I kind of blame his doctor for this. We took him into the doctor like 4 or 5 days after he was exhibiting symptoms. Like he had a runny nose. It was like pretty bad. So we took him into the doctor like a week after. And his doctor said he has sinus infection. Take this medicine, I think it was amoxicillin, and that was like a Thursday, and Monday you can go back to school, you'll be fine. Friday, after giving him the medicine and stuff, that's when he started perking back up. And we thought maybe it was the medicine, but in reality, it was actually like his COVID symptoms were passing. And then he went to school that Monday, and then that's when Cody started getting it. So we pulled him out of school then, and because of the school's policies, he has to be out of school for, I think, 20 days is what it came out to be. And it was just crazy because it was already like 10 days into him having it. Like he was already done. So had he had that COVID test when we took him in, which was already kind of late when you think about it, like we should have taken him in right away, honestly. Not that it would have made a difference. He could have had his COVID test right away. It would have come back positive. We would have known. And then his time would have started then. But it started like 2 weeks late. So he's missed like a month of school if you add this next weekend, which he's not upset about whatsoever. He's going to go back for like a week, and then he's going to have another week or 2 off for Thanksgiving. So it's like he barely even went to school this year. But it's been great because we've been having a lot of fun together. In fact, like this next week, I had him right now, actually. He's upstairs with Mrs. Brickitect. And I was like, hey, while I'm down there, if you want to make a list of all the things that you want to do this week, if you want to write that down, because I want him to practice his writing and stuff. We still want to be practicing stuff. You're missing out on some things when you're not in school. I know I've talked down to school before, but there's a lot of like social things that you're missing out on. It's great to learn your letters and how to read and how to do math. Like those things are good when you're in elementary school. So I want him to practice that, but he's already told me that he has some big plans in the world of RC. I know we're going to be remodeling Minecraft World this week. I've had so many requests from people to do an update on Minecraft World, which is kind of like a disaster now. So I was thinking we could clear that up a little bit, clean out some sets, and then put the new sets in, which Mrs. Brickitect is finally starting to crack down on me. We have this little little table thing in our office. It sits against the wall. I guess it'd almost be like a TV stand if you wanted it to be one. And I have all of the newest Minecraft sets lined up on top of that. And she's like, yeah, could those go? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put it in Minecraft World, but we need to make space. You guys have seen Clark's room. Like there's Minecraft World, and then there's Minecraft World West, which has like a shelf with multiple sets on it. Then there's Minecraft World South, which has even more Minecraft sets on it. We need to stop, but we're not going to. You know, every time a wave comes out, we're going to buy it. But I don't know if we can keep displaying all of them. So we're going to work on that, and with some nice days. I have some things that I want to do outside as well. I want to clean up the old flowers and stuff that the birds were battling around out here. They're pretty much dead for the year. We got our first frost this week, so I just want to cut that stuff down, and Clark can frolic around out in like a little deer. He can frolic around outside as I work on those things. So we got some plans for this week, and of course I'm going to be vlogging all of this and making videos on it, so that's always fun too, to have those memories of our time together. So it's kind of like a hearkening back to the old days when Clark and I worked together every day, or even last year when we had remote learning. But he doesn't have much work now. It's so weird. Like he has assignments to do each day, but it seems like there's so little work that they actually do on the computer, because he does like his computer work, and then there's nothing else for him to do. So I'm like, all right, let's go do a live stream. Let's go do videos and stuff. And he's all about that life, of course. Believe it or not, I find that kids enjoy playing with Lego stuff and making videos way more than, at least in my experience, way more than doing schoolwork. Your mileage may vary with your kid. Maybe they love school. Mine seems to like to do this kind of stuff better and play video games and stuff like that. Surprise. So this week's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Of course, I'll report back to you next week on all the fun stuff we did. You'll be seeing the videos on that. The Greg's World videos run about a week behind, so all the stuff that I did like this week, you'll see in the coming week. It's time travel. I still try to figure it out. So that's kind of where we're at. Everybody's feeling good. Everybody's better. We just have like this extra week of like Clark being home, and yeah, it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to it, and you'll of course get to see that. In terms of our channel, I thought I'd do like a little channel update here. I don't have much to talk about. Like I go into these missing pieces, I'm like, my life is boring. People are expecting me to have some type of revelation and tell about all the amazing things I did. It's just me. It's just me doing my thing every week. And I'm 104 episodes into this now. Any thought that's been in my mind, I feel like I've given to you at some point now. I've got nothing left to give you, but I'm going to keep trying, because I got a comment this past week, and I don't have the name in front of me right now, but the lady said that, I'm assuming it's a lady, she says every Sunday afternoon or evening when she's making dinner, she listens into Missing Pieces, and she enjoys, making that a part of her routine. And I'm like, this is why I do this. Even if I don't feel like I have something necessarily to deliver that's profound, at the very least I can keep you company while you're making dinner. I can smell in those aromas of the delicious spaghetti that you're making. I don't know what you're making right now. I hope it's something good. I'm open. You can invite me over. I would love to come have dinner with you. I'm kidding. I'm not going to be creepy like that, or maybe I will. So yeah, I feel like there's somebody out there that needs this in their life right now. So I'm doing this for you. I may have nothing to share, but at least I got something. So I thought, why don't I recap what happened this week in the world of Lego on my channel, in case you missed the videos or just like want the missing pieces or like the extra. That's another thing I should talk about. I had this thought this week that maybe this series shouldn't necessarily be called Missing Pieces. It should be called Extra Pieces. It's like above and beyond what you already get. Like you got the set, right? Our videos are the set, and you build it and you enjoyed it, hopefully. This is like those extra ones that are thrown in there. It's like the little studs and the cheese slopes and stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm going to put that into my collection. I'm going to add that in. Should this be called Extra Pieces? I don't think I can change it now. But back in the day, I was thinking like Missing Pieces is one of those things that everyone can relate to. Like it's a part of Lego building. It doesn't have the word brick in it, but it's like, oh crap, there's a missing piece. And I guess I'm like filling that in too. So I feel like it could work either way. Let's not speculate on the name. We get inside our heads too much sometimes, guys. At least me personally. But I want to talk about the channel, things that were happening this week. Starting with the morning streams. That's a part of the reason Missing Pieces is starting to lose its luster, I think, is because I'm literally sitting here. They're still going, by the way, and I'm having a great time with them. I'm sitting here for an hour or two every morning with Clark Man building stuff and talking, and it's like, I feel like I release all of my creative juices of speaking out to those people that are in those streams. And then when the weekend comes around and I'm like, hey, I need something to talk about Missing Pieces, I've already talked about everything. But there's different people, and I saw another comment this week from another lady, surprisingly. I think I may have a disproportionate number of adults watching my channel. I'm noticing my white balance is moving all over the place too. At some points I look like I'm blue, and then other points I look like I'm actually alive. If you're watching this, you can see it. If you're listening to it, disregard everything. She mentioned that she's not really one for the live streams because they're long, they're kind of boring, and I understand that. She also talked about how she's not really fond of memberships and the expense of that she can't afford. And she's talking about some other creators that she follows, and how as they've gotten bigger, she feels less like incorporated into their community, or feels like a less part of the streams. And that kind of made me sad. And that's really hard. Like I can relate to that. I started live streaming after I already had a channel that was kind of developed. So I never sat there with like 5 people in my stream, but I've been a part of those ones. And there's a part of me that kind of envies that, where you can see those 5 people, you can talk to every one of them and like have that communication and that engagement with them. And it's like, you really do feel like a little family. When those numbers start growing, it's very hard to do that. And I got complaints this week that was kind of discouraging, where people, it's kids mostly, and they're like, why aren't you reading my comments? And then you go back and look at the comment, and it's just like, it's like saying Clarkzilla 5 times in a row or something like that. And I'm just like, it's hard to get everybody, and for me, when I'm reading comments or engaging, I like it to be something that can provide value to the stream or to the people that are watching it. And we have conversations about anything and everything, just like Missing Pieces. And I like to move that forward if we can, and oftentimes like some of the chat messages, especially from younger kids, because they just want to be involved. It doesn't matter that you're talking about COVID and all the stuff around that. They might be like, "Are you getting the Lego Titanic set?" And you're just like, but I lash out on that, and it upsets me sometimes, because I want something more than that from the engagement we're having. That I don't want to. I feel like I'm wasting my time when we're not hitting like that. But I also have to think that these younger kids, this could be something that's really important to them. And me reading a 8-year-old's comment that says Clarkzilla could literally be the highlight of their week. Saying their name and reading that comment could be the highlight of their week. And I need to remember that. You know, not everyone that's watching this is me. I always see, like, this used to be a big problem with me. I would read comments and I would get upset with somebody that would like write something. And I'm like, this person may not be me. This isn't an adult. This could be a kid. Like, watch how you treat other people, because you just don't know. You don't know what's going on in someone's life. And maybe you striking out at someone, which I've done. I'll be honest, like, I've done it. That could be the final straw for them. You just don't know. I mean, we've talked about this months and months ago in one of the episodes. I saw this really disturbing video of these neighbors that got into a confrontation over snow shoveling. The one neighbor was throwing snow on the other guy's property. The other guy got upset. The guy, they started raging out back and forth and really insulting the one dude. The dude goes inside his house, comes back out with a gun, and shoots the guy and his wife dead. It's like, sometimes that could be the final straw. I know that's like excessively aggressive, but it's like, you don't know what's going on in people's minds. Like road rage people, like all of that stuff, like, you really got to be careful. You don't know what other people's lives are like. You don't know who they are. You don't know anything. Just try to be respectful of people. Try to treat other people the way you want, and try to think, like, what can I do to make someone else, like, what can I do to like boost you? Because that's ultimately what my job is here, isn't it? Try to bring people up. It's not to put people down. It's not to disregard people, even if it's unintentional. It's to try to offer you something. It's to try to make your day better. That's why I'm not going to get emotional. No, stop it. That's why I always start my videos by saying, I hope you're having a glorious day, or have a glorious day. Like that, just saying that little line can really like do something in someone's life. At least I hope so. And if not, it's just, what does it hurt, right? As always, hope you're having a glorious day. It's so simple to say, but it can be so powerful. So let's get this back on track, guys. Live streaming is still going well. Still enjoying it. Very productive, getting things done, which is great. In other productivity news with Clark Manhome, he's also now helping me with How Bad Is It? What apparently is our most popular series on this channel. People love How Bad Is It? And I'm stoked because I feel like it's something different. I could be the next guy that does the same old review, or the same old this, the same old that. But I'm doing something a little different outside the world of Lego, which is taboo for a lot of people, and that's How Bad Is It? Getting into sets and brands that you've never heard of and seeing if they're good or they're bad, enlightening people into things outside of Lego that may be decent. It's not all the bird's back. He's pecking into my wall. Hey, I paid good money for that wall. Anyways, oh my gosh, I need a bird cam. There's no doubt about it. Maybe he's going to make a little nest there. That'd be so great. I could sit here and do my podcast and look at the little birds in the nest till he like destroys the side of my house and stuff. But How Bad Is It? It's awesome. I'm out of stuff in my backlog for How Bad Is It? So I've been asking people, give me some suggestions. And someone, I'm not going to say what it is, because I want to keep it as a surprise when I do these episodes, but someone gave me an awesome idea for my next build. I'm just trying to figure out how far I want to go into this. I can do it for like $20 or $30, or I could get like $90 deep into it. And it's an off-brand. It's off-brand. It's on a specific item or product, or I can't say anything more. I can't go any further into this because I'll reveal what it is. But man, I was like, dude, this is going to be great. It's going to be so awesome. There actually was a clue earlier in this episode, if you've been listening closely. So How Bad Is It's a lot of fun. My eBay series, though, eBay Lego buying on a budget, that one is a struggle. This week I was tasked, thanks to Imperial Officer 07, who sponsored this episode and donated $30 or more possibly to us to get into buying classic Lego space on eBay. I have a $30 budget. I went in there looking around trying to find something on eBay. I live streamed it for like over an hour, I think. And oh my goodness, you just can't. You can't find anything for $30 less. And if you do, it's like the size of a poly bag. And it's like, I'm going to drop $30 on this thing that I'm going to literally just show for this video. It's like 2 minifigs and like a little rover or something that they're on. And then like, that's going to be it. So I was like, you know what? I want to take this into like maybe more of a collectible type thing, this series, as opposed to getting sets, which I'm going to do on occasion, but I want something that I can like display in my studio, becomes a part of the lore. Like the Batman alarm clock is a perfect example. I love having it. It's actually sitting on my shelf right back there in the shadows of Gotham. And I love having that. It's great. And the soccer ball, Clark is played with excessively. The Bellevue thing, or Belleville, that was just funny. I thought that was fun. So I'm trying to find things like that I can share. And actually this week I got 2 things. I had to do some negotiation to get the price down. I still went over slightly, but I hope you guys forgive me, being that this one was sponsored and we got some money for it. I'm going to show you the thing that I got that was under budget, and then the extra thing that I got that kind of ties into what Imperial Officer 07 was originally looking for, that I've been looking at for a while, and I was like, hey, I found a good deal on it, so I got it. So I am about $6 over, I think, on my budget. But I'm happy to have these 2 things. Like, I think it's going to be great. In other news on eBay, this series is getting dangerous, my friends, because I ended up, I'm starting to see other things too that I want to buy that's not even a part of the series. So I'm like seeing stuff, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of neat. Like it's under my budget or over my budget, but I'm going to pick that up. So my caution to you is be very careful where you go and what you look at online, because even just watching YouTube videos, especially in the Lego space, you watch something, it's like, it's pretty innocent. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch the new brickitect video, and you're like, oh, you know what I really need is a Lego soccer ball. Then you're on eBay ordering one. So it's a bad example, but it happens. It happens to me, and I know it happens to people that are in my membership Discord thing. And I know it's just something that happens. Like you see something that maybe you had no interest in before. And I actually have a video that I want to do on a haul that's related to that. And you're like, you watch this video and the person's talking about it, and you're like, oh crap, now I need to buy that. And it can get very expensive. So that series is going good. I need to probably make like an extra video, because I want to get ahead. I want to be more consistent, I think. So we'll play around there and see what we can come up with. In addition to that, in the studio here, outside of the world of building stuff, we got a lot of stuff built last weekend. You can see the Halloween video we put out where we built a whole bunch of Harry Potter stuff last weekend. I'm trying to figure out my time travel here, but we built a bunch of Harry Potter stuff. We did a Halloween build, did a whole little showcase on that. I finished my Raptor, which I think I might have talked about last week. We're just getting things done. The Bugatti now has a booty. The Booty-Gotti. The back end of that got completed this week, so that's we're 8 weeks into that out of 14. And I've decided that I'm always going to have like a little series going where I have this giant build that I'm working on week by week. But in the studio here, I put a new shelf in, which is directly to my left. You haven't seen it yet on this channel, but I did a vlog of Clark and I putting it together, which was it was a hoot. There was such a good video that I haven't made yet. I just know it's going to be. And then I'm going to get a couple more shelves for back over there beside Watchitect, which you can't see either. And then once I have those all in and sets on them and they look good, I'm going to do like an update video for you guys showing those. But it's nice to get some stuff out of storage and out on display. And I'm looking at my favorite Lego sets are now just feet away from me right now. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Of course, I have a lot of organizing to do. There's all kinds of things that I could be working on in here, and I intend to. Winter is coming, as they say in Game of Thrones. And as the temperatures get cold outside, it's a great time to be inside, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, watching series on TV, which we'll talk about next in Watchitect, and getting your stuff organized. It feels good. It feels great. Let's talk about Watchitect, though. This week, I finished a series called Squid Game. If you're a younger kid, don't watch it. It's very violent. Now I know you're going to watch it because I said that. You've already watched it probably. I see freaking Clark watches this guy called Unspeakable, and I'm pretty sure he did like a Squid Game thing, and he makes videos for 7-year-olds. I'm like, dude. Anyways, Squid Game, the premise of it is, I'm not going to spoil the show in case you do want to watch it, which I might advise you not to watch it by the time we're done talking about it here. No spoilers. Basically, the premise is it's in Korea. It's filmed in Korea. There's actually like voiceovers too, so if that's something that bothers you, you might want to stay away from it. Almost like a anime type thing, but it's live action, and it features these people that are kind of destitute. The main character, he's a gambler. He's got no money. He's massively in debt, and these people are approached to go into these games for money. They have no idea what these games are, but there's some odd people. He's like 435 or 436. I can't remember his number because they all have numbers on their outfits. But when they go in, they realize that there's all these other people there as well. And they're forced to play these childhood games. Like the first one is red light, green light, where you're moving forward towards a goal. And when they say red light, you have to stop. Green light, you have to go. Oh, that was a little bit of a spoiler, though. And I won't say anything more. Pardon that spoiler. But as these games go on, if you fail at these games or lose at these games, you're killed. And the numbers keep going down and down. And as the numbers go down of people, the money goes up that you can win. And crap, I can't say anymore. I need to do a spoiler cast on this. I'll just say this. I really enjoyed watching the series as a contained unit because I was watching them back to back. It really did feel like I was there and a part of it. But ultimately, I wasn't really happy with the end of it. There was one story arc that I really didn't like at all I kind of enjoyed it, but then it didn't go anywhere. I didn't like the ending. And if I could go back, I'm not sure if I would invest the time into it. I think it's a total of like 9 episodes that are roughly like 50 minutes each or so. And there was this one in particular, episode 7. I can say that without spoiling anything. There was something that happened in that particular episode that I just really didn't appreciate based on all the things that they laid out before that in terms of fairness and things. So again, if you guys would like a spoiler cast, I'd be happy to do that. I was talking to Mrs. Brickitect about maybe doing like a show/movie podcast spoiler cast thing as the birds are still going crazy outside. But I don't think I have the capacity to sit and talk proficiently like some people do. Like you guys know Ross of MGF Productions, I think is what it is. Is it MGF? Yeah, I think it is. MFG? I don't know, something like that. Ross. I know him as Ross. He could watch a 20-minute episode of something, and he could sit down and talk about that for 45 minutes. Eloquently. If I watched that same 20-minute episode, I would sit here for like 3 minutes, and I'd be like, yeah, it was pretty cool, like stuff happened. You know, I would need like notes and stuff, and that's kind of what she said too. But it might be cool with like 2 people if we watch the same thing and we kind of bounce off of each other. I think maybe we could pull that out. She finished a series called Dead to Me. I don't know if anybody has watched that. And we're still working our way through You. I think we have like 2 episodes left. I'm starting to get frustrated with that show. I really love season 1 and 2, but the main character guy, I just want him to like, just stop, man. Just stop. Stop what you're doing. Like they're just making these decisions and I'm just so frustrated with like, just both of you just stop. So I will report back on that when we're finally done with it. It's hard to watch that because it's a show that Clark Mann can't watch, unfortunately. And we don't have this thing like I think most adults do with younger kids, where you send your kid to bed at like 8 o'clock, and then that's like your adult time where you do all kinds of like... Never mind. You send your kid to bed early and you watch TV shows together. And then that's your adult time. Like Clark stays up with us, and then we all kind of go to bed at the same time. And then he gets up early. So it's like there's no like real good time where it's just like we're Clarkless. If he goes to play Minecraft, like we'll let him play Minecraft every other day for an hour is like his limit. That's like our time to go watch You or whatever, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, that's kind of what we've been watching. I'm starting a new show now based on some recommendations I've gotten from people that's highly rated. It's called Midnight Mass. I started watching a few minutes of it last night, but then my eyes, they got heavy, so I ended up shutting that off. So I'll start watching through that and seeing how it goes. I find myself like really looking to YouTube for my number one source for content. And I'm just like really desperate to find stuff, and I don't feel like the algorithm's really serving me well right now. So I thought, why don't I do something a little more productive? As the birds are everywhere. Why don't I do something a little more productive with like getting a whole storyline involved here? So Netflix has been really great for that. So we'll report back on more Watchitect. In Greg's Arcade news, formerly Gameritech news, Clark and I are playing a game called Hot Wheels Unleashed. That's been a lot of fun. We actually streamed that yesterday and having a blast with it. The real appeal to the game is that the cars you're racing on these Hot Wheels tracks that are actually inside like bigger buildings and houses and, you know, parking garages or whatever, skate parks. So it does feel like you're a tiny little car, and the cars are all real to real world. So you can collect in the game like you can in real world. And you play for these tokens that you then use to open up a blind box of which can be a car. So it's fun like unlocking cars and getting better ones and stuff, and that's kind of the draw for me. Unfortunately, there's no red turtle shells or anything like that, no banana peels or anything that have people slip on in the game, which I think the game would actually be way cooler if they added that stuff. It's just straight up racing, and it's fairly challenging. Like it really puts you on your toes when you're racing, and I've been having fun with that. So we've been streaming that. Haven't been playing much else, I don't think. Gaming has kind of taken a backseat to all the other stuff in life. It's hard for me to manage all these things, but I've been thinking about maybe like creating some type of schedule where I do, you know, like between 12 and 1 you do this, and between this time you do this and this and this, and maybe I'll do that eventually, but right now it's kind of just flying by the seat of my pants, and whatever feels right to do at the time, that is what I do. And that's the last topic that I want to talk about today. I'm going to try to talk about this without giving away too much information, but, you know, I watch a lot of LEGO YouTube channels and whatnot, and I watch a lot of things that are recommended to me. And I started thinking this week, and I'm not going to cast any judgment, or I'm going to try not to. I started thinking this week about the life of LEGO YouTubers, especially ones that do the stuff like you typically see, like full-time LEGO YouTubers, where, you know, day one you rush out to get a set, and then you come home and edit your video of you getting it so you can put it out, and then you live stream that like for hours that day so you can then have the review up the following day, just so you can be super timely. The same applies for people that do like LEGO news and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, you always got to be on the cutting edge of things because that's what your audience demands. Like you to get the views, you got to be there. And I was thinking, like, do these people, do they enjoy that? Like, there's got to be some times that you just aren't overly interested in a particular set. Like, there's lots of sets that come out that I'm not interested in. You know, I just pass on them. But like when people demand that you, or maybe not demand, but like expect you to get like the next big thing, and you're just not really feeling it. Like, how does that feel to have to go to the store and then like film yourself getting this thing and then doing all the stuff that I just laid out there? Like, does it feel like a job? I mean, it is a job technically. It's a business. And maybe you're thinking of the bigger picture, which is like, you know, if I get this thing right away, maybe someone will find my channel because I'm like one of the only people that have this thing. Or if you're in the land, that's obviously a pretty easy thing. But like, do you really enjoy it? And do you see yourself doing this for the next 20 years? Like, is this the life that you want to live? And sure, it's like, as a LEGO YouTuber, I can certainly tell you, or as a self-employed content creator in general, it's certainly better than working at a regular job and stuff. And there's a lot of monotony there, and you know, you got a boss and all that stuff that comes along with that. So it's always gonna be better than that. But like, do you find passion in doing this, especially when you're not overly like passionate about the thing? Like me personally, I'm a little bit different, and my channel probably pays the price because of it, but I only buy things that I really love. Like right now, I'm most excited about the Home Alone set. And luckily, it's going to be here hopefully today. It's on its way. It's about 2 hours away from me as of 3 a.m. this morning. So if it's not delivered today, I don't know if they deliver on Sundays, but it'll be delivered Monday. So I'm like really excited about that. And like, I'm excited to build it and to do all the stuff that comes along with that. But that's how I pretty much run my entire channel, I guess, is the whole point of this, is that like I only do the things that I really love to do. And I like, if I get up today and I want to make this type of thing or do this type of thing, that's what I do. I don't think there's any expectation from anyone that I'm always going to be on the cusp of everything new, or that I'm always going to have the latest leaks or the biggest news or whatever. It's just like me sharing my journey with whatever that comes in to be. Like there could be a day where I do something completely different than what I'm doing now. Like maybe all I'll do is speed builds. I don't see that happening because I'm a vlogger at heart. Or time lapses, or you know, what are they called? What are the things called where you make them really, you make it look like you take a picture and they do the thing? Oh goodness. I get asked it all the time. Are you ever going to do, all I can think in my mind is time lapses. All of you right now that are still listening to this, if you've made it this far, you all know the word. Stop motions. Thank you. Thank you for the help. I don't see myself ever doing that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't think I'll ever get sick of making LEGO content, because I only do the things that I want to do. I do the thing that I'm passionate about in the time. I share the stuff that I'm interested in. That's why my haul videos aren't just haul videos. They're like excitement, because I got this thing. I got it on a deal most likely. This is why I love it. This is going to be us live streaming and building it. Like I guess we're all doing the same thing. I just wonder with some of these people, and I'm not calling anyone out. This isn't that. I'm just genuinely curious. Are you really passionate about all these things? Like, let's pick a set, for example. Let's say the Titanic, for example. I get asked about that set all the time. Greg, are you going to buy it? My answer is always no. I have no interest in building such a repetitive set on such a large scale and then having the burden of trying to find a place to put it when it's done. And maybe there's people out there, and I'm sure there are, the people that are just like absolutely stoked that there's a Titanic, whether you're a Lego YouTuber or not, and you're rushing out day one to get it, and you can't wait to put that on this epic shelf that you built just for that. But say you had an audience that were like, oh man, you got to get the Titanic, and you're like, I don't really want to, but then you feel compelled to, then you do. Do you really, like, is this the life you want to live? Is having an entire room full of Lego stuff that you've built and like a little path to walk down, is that healthy? Is it healthy to put so much into this hobby in particular? Maybe it is. Like, who's to judge? I mean, if it brings you joy, I'm fully about that life. But I see in myself, in other people out there, like when the balance is off, and you can like, it becomes really apparent. And I would say to really have a good channel in YouTube, regardless of what genre you're in, you really do have to be out of balance. It's just the truth. Like, if you're going to produce content for people and do it on a daily basis, which is kind of what YouTube wants, you're probably going to be out of balance. But you can't go over the edge. And myself, I've been there. I've gone over the edge many a times, especially trying to navigate a Lego channel and a vlog channel and a gaming channel, a live streaming channel, doing all these things. But it's the thing that I am really passionate about. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of the other people that you watch too. Like, if you see somebody doing this, especially if they do it long term and they don't get burnt out on it, they're just like me. They're just so passionate about it. But I see people, you see people come and go. You have this idea to do this, and it's like, dude, I just can't. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. I guess in my life, I just wonder, the only thing that I do question about this Lego hobby is, could I be doing something else that would be more fulfilling to me? And I don't know if there is anything. Like, I love sharing my life online, but that's just kind of like the things that I'm doing and stuff. And I got a really nice comment this week about, I sometimes question, is my life too boring to share? And I got a comment this week that kind of was just like, that's what I love most about your channel, is that it is just the boring stuff. And I live a very different life from you. And I forget about this, just like we were talking about earlier with little kids, and you think that everyone's like you. If you live in the city, you live a very busy life. Maybe you don't get to see grass or the countryside very often. Seeing me take some RC trucks up to our camp and running those around and going swimming and taking the dog out and stuff might just be the thing that you're excited about. Like, I don't get to do this, so I want to see you do it. And to me, that's just like, it's just normal. But to other people, that's pretty darn cool. So I guess that's justification for doing all this. And, I guess in my heart, the way that I see myself never retiring, because I've talked about Cody about like retirement and stuff. And it's like, why would I ever retire from doing what I love? And the fact that I'm not tied into anything in particular, especially with my vlog channel, life changes, there's chapters, things evolve, and it's happened in the years that I've done, in the 10 years. And there's always an audience there. And that's just like really, it really offers like a sense of security, that knowing that hopefully no matter what I do and whatever direction I take, there's going to be a small group of people that are just like, yeah, Greg, I'm down. Let's go. Let's do this. And maybe new people come along the way during the journey. Some people fall off, but there's always that. There's always like that security. And it's really exciting to know that you've got like people, just like I started this show off. It's exciting to know that you've got people that have your back, just like you got your community. And to me, that's like the most important thing. So I guess on that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about this week on this episode 104 of Missing Pieces. I have no more bird updates for you. They've all gone away, just like I'm about to do. And I hope you go away having a great week this week. Hope you have a glorious day, because you should. And celebrate everything that you can in your life, the things that are good. Think about that when you get up in the morning. Try to give you guys a little bit of inspiration as I go out here, as I try to do all the time, because that's the purpose, right? That's what we're doing here. This is for you guys as much as it is for me. Just trying to hopefully you leave this podcast feeling a little better than when you came in, unless you were just feeling so good that all I could do is bring you down, because that would actually be kind of good in some way. Anyways, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and as always, we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.